How we doing, YouTube? Um, I just want to say thank you. I don't know what's happened in the past day. I wanted to get this video done earlier. By now it's Friday. I have a farm. I grow cannabis in Oregon. So just getting ready to start the spring season. So just really busy till after dark tonight, and I did want to make this video and thank my one subscriber. You're awesome. You're great. Thank you, whoever you are. Thank you very much. And I don't know if there was a meeting or something of people that are all connected to narcissism somehow, because just in 24 hours my views pretty much doubled, and I got a subscriber. So thank you to everybody that watched and took time to listen to what I had to say. Thank you very much. I did get one comment, but I guess the person had taken it down. It was her name was Rachel L. She had inquired. She had said she had watched Dr. Phil's show, and it was about a narcissist father, his wife, and their child, and asked me to watch it and kind of give my opinion on it. And I did. I went and I watched it and observed the gentleman. They had showed him how he had interacted with his family, and it was pretty damn ugly. That guy right there, it's one of those things. What am I going to say, that one form or brand of narcissism is better than the other? It's not. But that gentleman was extremely abusive on a lot of levels that I know a lot of people can relate to. I didn't see it in the video, but I can pretty much, I'd venture to say, and it's just a guess, that he also is physical. He definitely has all of the signs and the traits of somebody that when he's not heard, because he was definitely an overt narcissist, and we'll talk a little bit about that since I don't have any other topics or anything. We'll talk about covert narcissism a little bit, and overt narcissism, and all of this stuff. Hit the subscribe button and like it, and give me some comments. That gentleman was extremely he was an alpha of overt, if you will, I guess would be the best way to say it, an alpha of overt narcissists. He's one that if he's not heard, he switches the script completely, to goes to anger. I was that guy too. I was also at one point a heavy drinker. And I would come home. Here's an example of me. I'll go with me. I'd come home and it was quite clear to Ray Charles, who's blind and dead, that I was drunk. And I'd stand in the doorway, kind of bouncing side to side off the doorway, while I'm telling my wife I didn't have anything to drink. And when she'd call my bullshit, I'd get louder with it. When she didn't believe that, I got louder and louder. And I kept telling the same lie over and over, because I don't know if we're programmed that way. I know that speaking with other narcissists, it seems to be a trait. Once we find our lie, we're sticking to that lie. And for me, when you didn't believe it, I would keep saying it louder and louder. And I would think that, when she stopped the argument, that she finally got what I was saying, and she understood. She understood, all right. She understood that she wasn't going to freaking win this, and it was much better to just cut her losses. And because I wasn't gonna budge from that story, and it was just, in hindsight, in retrospect, just absolutely ridiculous. And it was even more ridiculous that I thought I was pulling it off. No, I was bullying. I was threatening. I was doing everything to make an uncomfortable situation, to completely upset the stability of my own friggin' house. You know, my children, my wife, everybody. You know, I never, I knew that I had the power to kind of bully the situation, but I never knew and thought about until I was confronted with it by somebody that I have the ability to upset, undermine, and make people, to make the people that I love the most, feel unstable, to not feel safe, to not feel protected, to not feel, like the guy that's supposed to be protecting them and taking care of them would do that. As a matter of fact, it probably made him feel like I was the first that was going to hurt him. As you can see from my voice, even when I'm not talking and being humble, I'm loud and my voice is raspy. Sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. You know, these, even just the one video and now this one, they are helping me to kind of make sure that I understand the gravity of what it's like for all of you and what it was like for them. So thank you guys for that too, you know. But anyways, that's was my MO with that. You know, that's what I did. I was good at that. It was one of my go-to tools that was just fucking ridiculous. Anyways, that guy was very overt. I guess next thing, you know, that I could talk about with overt, you know, they are the guy in the room, and I didn't really start recognizing that there were some hitches in the giddy up with everything going on when I was in Colorado. And a woman, I was staying at her house with her son. We were helping with their harvest out there in Colorado, and one evening, she looked at me and she goes, "Justin, you take up too much space." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Well, I'm 6'2", but I think I keep myself, my space, you know." She was like, "No, you take up too much space in a room." She goes, "When you walk in, you start taking up too much space." I didn't understand that. I really didn't. It took me a while to well, first it was explained to me. I still didn't get it. It had to sink in that when I come into a room and there's a group of people, I don't give a shit, or didn't give a shit, whether you're in a conversation or not. I've got something to say, and I'm going to say it. And I did it for so long, and nobody ever called me on it. No, that was the first time. That was like 2-3 years ago. That somebody said, you know, you take up too much space. You just barge in, you know. Basically, I'm going to force the will of whatever I want for you guys to hear. I'm going to force that on you. And I'm not even going to care that you guys are in the middle of a conversation. I'm not going to wait for the conversation to end. No, I never even thought about it. I just come in and I just start, just like a fucking machine gun. You know, just blah, 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 blah. You know, it was astounding to me. But see, you know, and I haven't studied narcissism a whole lot. I really haven't. From what I have is there's overt narcissism and covert narcissism, and you know, the way the writings that I've read are, you're either one or you're the other, and I think that's wrong, because I can tell you right now I was both, and we'll get to covert. You know, in covert, you know, their definition was, one of them is, you know, he craves admiration and you know, importance, you know, and lacks empathy. but acts in different ways than overt. Sure, they do. Absolutely. But there are some similar traits there. And now, whether you know me or not, I used to be a nationally touring headlining comedian. I'll talk about narcissism. I couldn't get the accolades, the praise, the attention and love, everything that we need to fuel our fire. I could no longer get that from my family. I could not get that from my friends. And so I decided that, I wanted to make people laugh. And I did want to make people laugh. But I wanted to do it for the wrong reasons. I wanted to do it because of cheese. There's got to be cheese in it for a narcissist to do something. It's like a rat or something. There's got to be cheese in it. And there was for me. It gave me attention. It gave me people telling me I was great, telling me I was funny, I was hilarious, love your show, blah, blah. And now I've got, fans and sorry, I'm still a little, clogged up from earlier. But the thing about comedy is, and why it feeds into narcissism so good, is because we have to be able to read a crowd. That comes in real handy in our personal relationships. Real handy. When we're able to get a beat on you, we're able to figure you out, we're able to see how those gears turn. It gives us an advantage. It gives us a serious advantage. It's like playing poker and there's tells. Every person that is with or has been with a narcissist or is going to be with a narcissist, trust and believe that they're going to read you. And they'll read you quicker than you think. I don't care how good you think you're going to cover, protect, blah, blah. You're no match. You're not. And that's going to sound like a narcissistic thing to say, and maybe it is, but it's the truth. They're better at it than you. They're built for it. Just are. You may try to protect yourself and guard yourself and read all this and do all of this. But if nobody's telling you, man, that they know how to read you and they know how to read you quick, you are screwed. Because we also know how you're going to try to head us off. While you're doing that, like chess, man, we're 2 steps ahead of you. And sometimes we'll throw out that initial bait, so you go block that. And that was like a false flag. We're just sending that out there. That isn't even the point or whatever we want to do. That's just to send that out there to get you to stop it. Then here's the kicker. Now I've made you feel like you just won one. You got confidence for the next one. That's when I'm gonna put the screws to you. That's what's gonna happen. And I don't know. Maybe some of you can comment and attest to similar situations in your dealings with a narcissist. But I know for me that's true, and that's a sign of covert narcissism. There's so many layers, like I said in the first video. There's so many layers to narcissism. Especially with covert. I mean, I'm going to do a whole nother video on the humble narcissist. That one's going to blow y'all's mind. A humble narcissist. You guys are hopefully this will keep picking up. I got 1 subscriber. It's more than I had. I can see that people started to watch the videos with whatever has went on. And whatever went on, or maybe it was just the internet and so many people saw narcissism on TV and maybe they found my stuff. It doesn't come with much scientific backing to it. The only thing I can do is give my side of the story, tricks that I did, my MO, and hopefully we can heal together. I can help you guys to get over some of the stuff and hurt and the damage you have, and I can deal with being a better person, being not a narcissist. And it's a battle. And I'll tell you how it's a battle, and here's the truth. I probably did that video a month ago, and throughout that month, I had 30-something views. In one day, I had almost double, what I did have. But that's not where the narcissism creeps back in. Here's where the narcissism creeps back in. I started to get a little in my head going, well, why isn't anybody listening? Why isn't anybody commenting? Why isn't anybody liking or subscribing? I'm trying to help them. Maybe it's guys like you, dude, that have hurt them. Maybe they don't want to hear your fucking shit, dude. And I had to look at myself in the mirror and say just that. Maybe they're not gonna like a video from a guy that's just like the one that hurt them. Maybe they're not gonna like that. Maybe they're not gonna subscribe. Maybe they're not gonna watch. It's tough, y'all. Bust my ass, I'm trying. I'm telling on myself, man. And that's the truth is, at least today, I have some recognition that I can recognize. At least I maybe can't recognize it all at first, but I can go, something doesn't feel right here. How am I looking at this? Am I looking at this as the person I choose to be? Or am I looking at this with any remnant of the person I used to be? And if the answer is the latter, then I've got to get rid of that thought. Because first thought's wrong. Always wrong. First thought's mean. First thought's petty. First thought's poor me. First thought's victim. First thought's, you name it. Got them all. Got them all. But that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a narcissist trying and is still popping up. Because it's just what we know. I do make sure these days that my whole goal is to not harm another human being. And now I give myself, I have to force myself to stop. Before I say anything, before I do anything, stop, man. Just, you can't trust yourself. You can't trust your thoughts. You can't trust what's going to fly out of your mouth. And I used to think it was funny, Never know what's going to come out of my crazy mouth, the comedian. It's an excuse, I need to check what flies out of my mouth. I need to check what my motivations and intentions are. So, anyways, that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to, tell you all thank you so much. I know it's got to be tough on you. I can't imagine. I really can't. Just put myself in y'all's shoes. Just even sitting there talking about it. It's a little more than I can handle, as you can see. So I don't know how it would be like to be in y'all's shoes. But maybe I can be a part of you getting some better understanding and you healing a little bit. And, maybe you're doing your part to, help one. And hopefully I can, carry the message to, other narcissists. So anyways, thanks much. And, I hope more of you watch and some of you come back. And that we can heal this together. We're all in it together, in one way or another, whether we like it or not. So be good to each other. Keep your heads up. I love y'all. Thanks.